Hello, everybody. Welcome to the, what is it? Is it Wednesday? Tuesday live stream. Yeah, things just kind of go crazy. But today, we're going to be doing a live Tangem giveaway, so thanks for stopping by. But we have to talk about some concerning issues about how this particular Bitcoin was actually seized and how the Department of Justice worked behind the scenes to confiscate those Bitcoin, even though the person that was responsible for this criminal organization is still at large, and they were able to get into those wallets to take that Bitcoin. Before we get into that, I just wanted to just have a lighthearted discussion about what is going on in the markets currently right now. It looks like DJT doing the same thing he always does, which is tank the market with a tweet. If you're wondering, like, what's going on? Well, there's plenty of reasons. Mostly the big reason is the whales behind the scenes are using the news to manipulate the prices behind the scenes of what you were used to, but they'll just point to this and say, that's the reason why there's a big drop-off. So apparently, and this is from Kobayashi Letter, and they're great people, doing great stuff over there, but it says on 2:30 p.m., which I guess was a couple hours ago, Trump threatens to stop buying Chinese cooking oil. And of course, the market goes down. So don't worry too much about the market. It'll figure it out. And I still say we're in, as far as fundamentally nothing has changed. The market is still going to go up. We're still going to have a melt up. Jerome Powell is still going to cut rates. He just had a talk today, and he talked about how they're going to offload some of the balance sheet, and money printer is essentially going to be turned back on as it's already goes moving its way into it. Also, he talks about the economy is strong. That's for a whole other video. What we're talking about today is this. I woke up to this today and I'm like, oh, well, great. Department of Justice is doing something. And it looks like they seized 15 billion in Bitcoin, which equates to about 127,000 Bitcoin or so. This is from a massive, what it says here is pig butchering scam. So I'm going to read this whole article. We're going to talk about it. And then we're going to go into what I say is some of the more concerning things about how they were actually able to get this Bitcoin. So here we go. So the seizure is the largest forfeiture action by the Department of Justice in history. And this all comes about by an indictment charging the alleged pig butcher Chen Zhi. I think I said that right. Gen Z. But if you're not aware of like pig butchering, it's a goofy term where essentially what they do is they fatten you up on social media and they talk to you very nicely. And then they start to kind of like small roll you into like, hey, if you can give me some money, or hey, if you like this this nice new investment opportunity, I got something that really could help us out, and I really like you, so I want you to do that, and blah, 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 blah. And before you know it, you sunk your entire savings into it, and you get screwed over. That's pig butchering. Essentially, it's just scams. And I used to say that scammers were pieces of trash, which they are, but we're going to talk about this and actually why they do that. So Z, who is also known as Vincent, remains at large. He was identified in court filings as the founder and chairman of Prince Holding Group, a multinational business conglomerate based in Cambodia, which prosecutors said grew in secret one of Asia's largest transnational criminal organizations. And this is why it kind of sets me back, and I take a look and think to myself, you know, it's not the scammers that are really after us. It's the people behind the scammers. And it's always the big people that are pulling the strings and making us puppets. And this guy is no different than anybody who is in power in a political office. Just saying. So anyhow, Z directed one of the largest investment frauds in history, fueling an illicit industry that is reaching epidemic proportions. The Prince Group, which operates businesses in more than 30 countries, ran forced labor scam compounds across Cambodia. And this is one of their as they farm out some type of engagement, or they were probably using these phones to reach out to people, and they had 76,000 accounts across various social media platforms. That's not important. What's important is the Bitcoin. Individuals held against their will in the compounds engaged in crypto investment fraud schemes known as pig butchering that stole billions of dollars from victims of the US and around the world. Again, these are just scammers that are being pretty much forced to do these things because they either owe money or their family was in danger or something like that, and they were forced to actually do these things, which is just awful. Prosecutors said that hundreds of people were trafficked and forced to work in the scam compounds, often under the threat of violence. Got it, right? So we have that here, and there's not a lot to the story. I had to do a little bit of digging, and one of those was Cynthia Lummis, senator from Wyoming, and she's the one that said, like, look, this seizure of 127,000 Bitcoin underscores two urgent priorities for Congress. First, passing clear digital asset market structure legislation, and second, codifying how seized Bitcoin is stored. So even though the American government seized this Bitcoin, you have to remember that's somebody's Bitcoin. And this goes back, years, I think I want to say 2015, 2016, when this guy Z had started up this criminal organization. So that is somebody's Bitcoin that hopefully will be returned to them and doesn't just stay with the US government. Now I know people would say, well, that's great, that's fantastic. Now we have a Bitcoin treasury reserve. But again, we're using that off the backs of people who got screwed over. I don't think that's how America is supposed to work. I know that's not how Bitcoin is supposed to work. But there is this one part in here. I'll say this again. The ringleader, Z, who's known as Vincent, remains at large. Okay, I need you to remember that. He is not under the watchful eye of the Department of Justice. He is just out there. So the question then is, well, if he's just out there and they don't have him in custody, how were they able to get that Bitcoin? And there's a lot of things that it came through, but this is what I had to ask. I had to ask Grok. And I said, okay, so Grok, were these Bitcoin already in the US possession for years and only now they're being assigned to the ringleader Z? No, the 127,000 Bitcoin were not in the US possession. U.S. Department of Justice filed a civil forfeiture complaint on October 14th, seizing the funds now held in custody. Like, I get it if it's like a regular, like, physical wallet, like someone's in your back pocket, but how did they confiscate the Bitcoin when it was in cold storage devices? Anyhow, it directly linked them to Chen Zi's control through wallets he managed as part of a scam. These Bitcoins accumulated from fraud since 2015, so on and so forth. So I said, is Chen Z still at large? Yes, he's still at large. His indictment for wire fraud and money is pretty butchering. So I said, and the last question was this: how did the DOJ seize that Bitcoin via civil forfeiture? Were these wallets on an exchange? Because that would make sense, right? You get a warrant and go to those centralized exchanges and go, hey, whoever has these wallets that are associated with Z, we need those for the United States Department of Justice. That's not what happened. This is what happened. The DOJ filed a civil forfeiture complaint in Brooklyn federal court against the 127,000 Bitcoin in unhosted, that means self-custodied wallets, controlled by Chen Z. And they're now in US custody. Wallets were not on an exchange. Private keys were held by Z. Seizure methods undisclosed. Let me say that again. Seizure methods undisclosed. How did this happen? It's a good question. And there's a little bit of insights from Bitcoin Archive. They said that some of the 127,000 Bitcoin the US government just seized from a Chinese scam were previously reported as having private key vulnerabilities. I don't know how they were tracking that, but it sounds good. Now the US government has that in custody. Is the US government hacking Bitcoin wallets? And when I did this thumbnail on the title, I really wanted to say Bitcoin wallets hacked, but I know it would have given you a heart attack. So I just said some other wording around it. I think I said drained. So before I have all the grammar Nazis saying, you shouldn't have said drained because this is not drained and this is a private key. I'm like, look, if it's your wallet and they circumvented that, would not tell me, hey, my wallet got drained? That's exactly what it was. So this is where we're at. And it gets even deeper because is it really a hack? And this is actually from CRISPR King. He says it's not hacking, it's weak key generation. Predictable private keys. Anyone scanning weak ranges could find them. It's sloppy security. That got me thinking, like, what the heck is that? So I had to do a search, and this came up from Tangem, which coincidentally is what we're going to actually give away today. Old wallets, weak keys, how poor entropy still drains millions in crypto. And I'm just going to read this first paragraph. You're going to read the rest of it. I linked in the description. On August 2nd, Arkham Intelligence dropped a claim that's earlier than most jaded crypto veterans. The 2020 theft of, and let's look at this, 127,000 Bitcoins. I'm pretty sure this is separate instances, but sure. Worth more than $8 billion at today's prices from the Chinese mining pool Lubian. They have stemmed from a single, invisible, flaw, predictable private keys. And I had heard about this. Essentially what it is the string of numbers that form the basis of a private key aren't truly random. If they're weak, then you can guess them pretty easily, especially as you run them through a program. So my question to you is this. Whatever cold storage device that you have, how strong is it? Because even people say, well, I have it's not your keys, not your crypto, and I have the keys. What if those keys are weak? Just like it talks about here. And what if you're like a criminal? I don't think you're a criminal mastermind, but let's just say you are, and you just lost 127,000 Bitcoin. That's pretty bad. Well, what's even worse is you're a single mom with 2 or 3 kids, and you just lost, your one full Bitcoin that was supposed to be your retirement. Are you okay with that? Well, if you're not, I would recommend, I use 2. I use Ledger and I use Tangem. I just use Ledger because it's like the legacy and it hasn't failed me. And Tangem is just the same thing. It hasn't failed me, and they're awesome. I got multiple ones. So let's give some away. I think this is a perfect opportunity, right? I didn't plan it like this. Just this is how it happened. So I just wanted you to interact with this post. And as a reminder, we're going to give away 3 today. And we're also going to give one of those is going to be a Tangem ring. I don't really like the ring because it allows me to like spend my crypto. I'm not spending my crypto. I'm not tapping this on some NPC device that allows me to transfer crypto into something. I'm just not doing that. But some people are. And who am I to judge them? So I'm going to give away one of those, and I'm going to give away 2 more wallets, and it's going to be awesome. If you don't win, which I'm sorry, we all can't be winners, but you're still a winner in my book. If you didn't win today, just remember that you can buy one and you get $5 Bitcoin reward. I'm even going to give you a discount. It's going to be 10% off. And I'm going to show you how to take actually 20% off today because I like you. And this is how we're going to do it. Because usually the way I would do it is I would just pick them at random. But I'm just going to have Grok do it. I've seen this done, so stick with me. If this doesn't work, I'm sorry. I said randomly pick 3 winners and display their X handle so I know who to reach out to and give them a nice new Tangem wallet. So there's going to be 3 winners. The first one that Grok picks is going to get the ring. And the other 2 winners are going to get the wallet. And I'm going to reach out to them personally. So let's see if this works. I don't know. And here we are, staring at Grok. Hopefully it does it. Now the old-fashioned way, I can just do this and just go, this guy won. So deep future, you might be the winner if Grok doesn't work. Come on, Grok. I got a live stream going. Don't make me look goofy. All right. Grok says, all right, let's keep the live stream smooth. Check the expo. Hey, look, it did work. Wow. Congratulations, these people. CryptoFan123, Web3 Warden, at Tangem Lover. Tangem Lover. Tell me this guy doesn't have a Tangem. Hey, this is how it is. So congratulations to those winners. I will reach out to you personally. It'll become from my account, which on X, we have around 200,000 followers, which I appreciate every single one that does that. So when I reach out to you via message, check who is reaching out to you. If it's news asset and there's no like news asset 1, that's me. And then just take a look at who the actual account belongs to. If it's somebody that looks like me, like news asset with 3 followers, that's not me. So anyhow, congratulations everybody. Now, if you didn't win, it's okay. As you all know, I use a diversification of storage, just like how I diversify my portfolio. Because I refuse to be the person that comes here and says, hey, bad news, I had everything in my MetaMask wallet and they just drained me. I'm not going to be that guy. So I put it into iTRUST, which is the same custodial services that BlackRock use and that Coinbase use, which is Coinbase Prime. I've got a big fat chunk. Now, these numbers, I'm just going to tell you right now, are wrong. I'm not going to tell you how much custody that iTRUST has or how much custody Ledger has or Tangem. Everything changes. So, but just rest assured, I got multiple ledgers, more than one, and I have multiple Tangems, more than Tangem. It says 7 here and 4, but I don't think that's correct. We'll see, but I got multiple. So anyhow, that's what I do. And if you want to grab a Tangem, like I said, they're super easy to use. They're pretty much indestructible. They look like a credit card. You buy 3, you hide the other 2, you put one in a somewhat safe place, you know, so you can actually get to it when you want to. The other 2, you just get, you know, I put them into a storage box in the bank. But if you want to get Tangem, you click on Get Tangem, links in the description. If you put this sweet promo code in, which I have a promo code, and you put in Dan, and you click apply, you get 10% off. Congratulations. You've got 10% off. And you get $5 Bitcoin rewards. And I'm going to show you another trick. See where it says sale right here? Like if you're okay with having that's actually a nice color, I think. Orangey Bitcoiny thingy. You click on that. Guess what? You just took another 10% off because there's a sale. Or if you want this goofy thing, or these are nice. Anyhow, that's up to you. So yeah, again, big question. Does your device have weak private keys or not? I can't answer that. Read the article. And if you feel like, maybe I should get another wallet, why don't you grab a Tangem? That's it for today. So look, if you like today's video, give it a thumbs up, consider subscribing. Everything we talk about is time sensitive. Now we'll get into a little Q&A. I'll answer all your questions and we'll go from there. All right. Let's see. Okay. Don't let Trump know your crypto. Yeah, well, look, this is what I think is going on. Trump is tweeting and it's screwing up the market. This is true. But that's the whole thing of negotiation. And some people say, no, you're supposed to do back channels and do all these things. I think Trump figured out that the court of public opinion holds sway. And he's going to use that, and he's going to put pressure on China and maybe make it public. Let's see if it works out. They were supposed to meet at the end of October, and apparently, according to Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, they have been having live, active discussions over the weekend. So this is still a go. I see it as, hey, look, he shows up there. They're like, let's make this work. This is pretty good. I also heard another theory, which is pretty reasonable, which is this negotiation is probably going to be pretty successful because Trump's got a lot of clout right now with what happened with the Israel, Palestine, Hamas peace deal. So because of that, and because of the fact that you've got the Middle East now pretty much behind Trump, now he's going to go into that discussion with Xi Jinping, and maybe it'll be a little bit of who has hand and who doesn't. Anyhow, this is not a geopolitical channel. I'm sorry I even mentioned it. Okay. I never win anything. Rectum. What a great name. You're going to be a moderator today. Let's see. Let me get this. Because you are a winner. I just need to find you. Master Blaster, Vestibon, meme. There you are. So congratulations, Rectum. I know you've been here for quite some time because I don't forget a name like that. And now today you are one of the Wrench armies. All right. Congrats, winners. Talmor is very nice. Every time I was like, every time someone beat me, I'm like, good job, winner. But you don't really need it. Oh, well, let's see. Ferrari says, you can even use your Tangem to jimmy a door lock and not breaking advice. It's pretty good. Yes, you can. It's a very well put together device. Meme says, so does Tangem say they have strong keys? Yes, they have. And again, like I said here, 1 million+ users, no hacks. And that's all I really want them to do, is just don't get hacked. So there you are. TC says, Robbie, are you getting the Tangem wallets delivered directly from the manufacturer, wherever they come from? So it's a sealed. The last one that I got, it was there was a little problem with a couple of shipments. This was like 8-9 months ago, where some people said, hey, the little sticker, the tab, has been tampered with. And then people would reach out to Tangem and they would send them another one. But every time that I get it, the stickers are intact and I open it up, and then also the plastic shrink wrap, whatever it is on there, and it works just fine. But again, like, this is where, like, I know people are like, I don't want to just, trust one thing. And you're right to say that. That's why I say get multiple. That's why I say, like, if you don't want to use all this stuff, you're like, you know what? I'm just gonna do an ETF. Just do an ETF. I'm not here to judge you. No one else is. No one's got to know. Not your keys, not your crypto. Sure. Well, it's pretty good for Larry Fink and his 10 trillion assets under management. I think he'll be okay. So just do an ETF. But if you want to, like, have control of it, and you're like, okay, I'll do a little ETF here, do a little iTRUST custodial service over here. I'll do a little Ledger, I'll do a little Tangem. Look, the paranoid are the only ones that are going to survive. That's pretty much how it is. Aren't you tired, Rob? Like today? Yes. That's why I take naps. But if you're talking about tired of the market, some days I am. But then other days, like today, I was kind of like just kind of burnt out on some other things, not here, real estate stuff. And but with the markets, and you're like, why is it so up and down and up? And why can't I just go in a straight line? And I just focused on something else, like we talk about today, like with this Tangem and securing everything. And I think when we get bogged down with the day-to-day minutia, that's when things go bad. I just want you guys to not worry so much about what's going on in the markets, because it's going to fluctuate, especially with this trade deal like it did before. Remember when it was nothing but tariff talk, and then all of a sudden it kind of just went away because we're like, okay, tariffs are good, we're bringing in money, everybody's happy, and now it kind of rears its ugly head again. If you pay attention to that every day, you're going to get burned out real fast. So what I need you to do is, first of all, you should probably stop watching a lot of YouTubers, including myself, and then you should just kind of go away for a little bit, and then just check the price every so often. That's pretty much it. I am trying not to talk too much about the markets themselves, just other stuff and tactics and things as far as like taking profits and being safe and stuff like that. I want to focus more on that as the market starts to bobble and dip and things like that, because who cares? We know where this whole game is going. It's just we got to wait for it. And when we talk about it every day, it's like, ugh, sucks. So I'm just not going to do it anymore. I will talk about the markets. If it's something crazy, like, we got liquidated $20 billion, yeah, I'll talk about it. But then the other stuff doesn't really. All right. Thank you. Trump is a scanner and a con man. Wow. Jordan has to say what he feels. As a reminder, all politicians are crooks and liars. I don't think Grok picks winners based on your criteria. Retweet and follow. Oh, I forgot to put that in. That's okay. Who shorted made $190 million? Good question. Welcome to Mod World. Yeah, welcome to Mod World. How's your back doing? It's great. Therapy for, I blew out my back, L5S1, herniated disc. This is the thing with doctors. I didn't want to talk about geopolitics. I'll talk about healthcare. Go to the doctor, does a CAT scan or an ultrasound. No, CAT scan. And it says, hey, your L5 and S1 is blown out. Looks like you have a herniated disc, and there's a bundle of nerves that's causing that massive pain, so we're going to do surgery. It's like, nope. I was in medical field for 20 years. I never met a person who was like, I had back surgery and I feel awesome. So I just did therapy, stopped drinking so much beer. Apparently that's bad, but then I picked up wine. And therapy, fasting, and acupuncture. Go figure. Worked just fine. Matter of fact, the reason why I got that problem was because I ripped out a stump in my house. And just last week, I ripped out a stump here in Puerto Rico. So it is what it is. Wow. I have not heard about this, Adam. Sorry if you covered already, just joined, but did you look into this issue with Android where it would open another app, share the screen with a hacker, show the keys to them? iOS supposedly? I did not hear about that. This is the thing about, like, that's strange. Because like with Tangem, that's the thing. With Tangem, when I set up my wallets, multiple, I never saw, well, there's two ways. You can generate a mnemonic phrase, which is your private key, if you want to. I don't like mnemonic phrases. I don't like those 12 and 24 words. I said don't generate them. Put the private key within the card of all three of those cards. Don't let me see it. And when it does that, like, it doesn't matter if like this is shown on a screen, nothing's being generated. I never really liked that whole thing with like, okay, here's 24 words, and you know, hopefully no one sees it because that's your entire life savings if that's what you did. So that's why I'm like getting away from that. I don't know what that is, Adam, but it sounds very concerning, especially with Android. I'll have to take a look into that. So maybe this is all because if you have some type of malware that's installed on your device, perhaps. I never liked Androids anyhow. They also have there's a lot of hacks that go on Android. And Apple still has its issues, but sure. Jimmy. Wrecked him, damn near killed him. Da-da-da. Ah, Jimmy, I shall call you Butter because you were on a roll today. Do you like grilled bread? Not really. Wrecked him. I meant to the winners. The end giveaways are awesome. Yeah, and guess what? We're going to do this as much as we possibly can because I think that every single person should have a cold storage device and have the option to use it. Yeah, 10 trillion. You're welcome. And cow with a K is here. Oh, wow. Really healthy, survived stage 4, big cancer. Getting older is challenging. It is. That's why I will never own a Lamborghini. Have you seen how low those things are? Not with my knees. Okay, everybody. I think I answered everybody's questions because we're just evolving into some humor, which is great. But that's it for this one. I got to get out of here. If you like today's video, give it a thumbs up, consider subscribing. Everything we do talk about is very time sensitive, as you see, but that's it. Again, read that article from Tangem. I linked in the description. And again, if you want to set one up, there's those 2 tricks, 10% with Dan, and then the other ones for the discount. And they come relatively fast, and it's super easy to set up. I even did a video where I show you how to do it. But that's it. Thanks so much. See you in the next one. Adios.